Hello, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Q&A Wednesdays for this month. We are still on our series, How Do I Walk in Purpose? This is part 3. I am Intelexx, your host. We are going to jump in, okay? So, just a few announcements. Showcase Your Talent show is this coming Sunday from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom, as well as live streaming on YouTube. Spots are still available if you would like to participate in this month's showcase. You definitely don't want to miss it. It is Artful Thanks is the theme. So if you're interested, definitely tune in. We also have Meeting of the Minds Mondays, which is one Monday a month, where we talk about anything from art to business to self and everywhere in between. And if there's any topics that you would like to hear on this platform, or if you would like to host, definitely connect with us, because we are here to serve you. Q&A Wednesdays, of course, is one Wednesday a month where we pose a question just to gauge and get to know you a little bit better. If you have any questions that you would like to ask us during that time, this is the time to do it during our Q&A Wednesdays. If you want to pose the question of the month, or if you want to host Q&A Wednesdays, that is also an option. You can definitely connect with us with that. We have Freestyle Fridays. Battle Art is second Fridays, where artists go against each other, and the viewers vote, and whoever has the most votes wins and picks the next month's theme. Sometimes we have our Battle Arts on third Fridays to do our double art event that goes along with our Art of War Art Awareness fundraiser, which is normally third Fridays. This month is going to be this Friday due to the holidays and scheduling and things like that. So we're going to have our double art event this week as opposed to last week. All right, so we have our open mic segments every time we have an event on Fridays as well, and our featured segments, which will be coming back very soon. We have our art and business seminars. There will be another one coming soon, so stay tuned for that. We have books, we have merch, we have Intelexx Place for Artrepreneurs podcast in season 3. If you are interested in participating in our podcast as a feature, definitely connect with us on that. And of course, we have our app, the Artrepreneurs Hub. To stay up to date on all things Intelexx, make sure to download the app. It's off the Mighty Networks app, and you can search us, the Artrepreneurs Hub, and get that information. All right. We also have our email list. It's free 99, member fees, as well as our YouTube channel. Subscribe so that you can get all the content from us. All right. We have so much more, but stay connected with us so that you can get all of the details that we have going on, and we have so much more in store, so stay tuned. All right, we're going to jump right in for the sake of time. So we have been on this series, How Do I Walk in Purpose? And we have heard from several different people talking about what it means to walk in purpose. All right, now if you have not tuned in or caught up with the replays from our previous Q&As, definitely go on our page, go on our YouTube, and go in our app to see the previous episodes. All right, so we are going to jump right in. If you want to go back for the recaps of those previous episodes, you can go. Where, for the sake of time, we're not going to go into the recap from the last 2 months. It's a lot of information. So we are going to move on. So one thing that I want to focus on today is staying along the lines of what we've already been talking about, right? Is knowing that your purpose and your calling are two different things. So we're going to hear from a sister, Melody, who's going to go right into that. All right. So we're going to jump right in and listen to Miss Melody. And I hope y'all are having a great day so far. I know it's a little early, but we sticking to the time that we had before from our last meeting. All right. So let's do this.
But if we want to do what God wants us to do over here for a little while, but then we kind of want to go over here and do what we want to do, we are never making genuine progression in either direction. Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Melody and I make faith-based content here on YouTube. I post new videos every single Monday and Thursday. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely be sure to subscribe. I would love to have you join the family. So in today's video, we are going to be continuing the conversation on the topic of purpose. Specifically answering the big question, how do I walk in God's purpose for my life? Now, we originally started this conversation in the first video, which I will have linked above here, and I really dove into the difference between your purpose and your calling. I talked about how as human beings made in the image of Christ, we all have these same 4 purposes, but our calling is specific to our gifts and our talents. So I'll have that again linked above here for you to check out. And in today's video, we're really going to be diving into 3 things that you need to do to ensure that you are walking in God's purpose for your life. Now, something I want to note here is all of the information I have for you on this subject today, I am getting from the sermon series that my church is currently going through on the topic of purpose. So I will have the sermon series linked down below for you guys to check out. It has been blessing me as well as blowing my mind. So I definitely encourage you guys to check that out. So this video is basically like me sharing my church notes with you guys because these sermons have been so good. All right, without too much further ado, let's just go ahead and dive on in. So number 1 on this journey to figure out how we can walk in God's purpose for our life, first, we have to stop limping. We have to stop hesitating. We have to stop sitting on the fence. Now, what does this mean? That means when God calls you to write the book, to start the YouTube channel, to start the business, to talk to that parent, that parent, whatever that thing is that God is calling you to do, when you are limping, when you are hesitating, when you are sitting on the fence, you are wavering between doing what He's calling you to do and not doing it. And so the first step to walking in God's purpose for your life is to stop limping, to stop hesitating, to stop being on the fence. The thing about this is, 1, it's very, very easy to sit there on the fence and to waver between the two and to have so much time pass before you even realize how long you've been contemplating doing what God told you to do or not doing what God told you to do. So a question we really want to ask ourselves here is, are we trying to worship 2 things at the same time? Because if we are truly surrendered to God, His will, His purpose, what He wants out of us, then we can't waver. But if we're kind of dabbling with God over here, but dabbling with what we want over there, we're going to end up just flip-flopping between the two and not taking a step in either direction. So the Bible verse I have for you guys comes out of 1 Kings, and it is something that Elijah said. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that up on the screen here. It is 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 21. Elijah went before the people and he said, "How long will you waver between 2 opinions? If the Lord is God, follow Him. But if Baal is God, follow him." But the people said nothing. And so that really is the perfect demonstration and description of what it looks like to waver, to limp, to hesitate. Our actions are demonstrating that we're just silent when the question comes up of, are we going to serve God? Are we going to do what He's calling us to do? Or are we going to hesitate? Are we going to maybe stay in our comfort zones? Are we not going to do things we don't know the outcome of? So that is going to be number 1. So number 2 on our list, the second step to walk in God's purpose for your life is to point your heart back to God. And the thing about it is, whichever direction your heart is pointing, your feet will follow. So that means your actions will follow where your heart genuinely is going. And it says in the Bible that we have to protect our heart. I'll put the Bible verse up above here, because everything flows out of it. And that is so incredibly true. So if we're living a life where we genuinely, with all of our heart, want to serve the Lord, our actions, our feet are going to demonstrate that fact. But if we want to do what God wants us to do over here for a little while, but then we kind of want to go over here and do what we want to do, we are never making genuine progression in either direction. Because if we want the ways of the world, but we also want the ways of God, we are just going to go in circles. Now, the Bible verse I have for you guys here, I'm going to go ahead and pop it up on the screen. It comes from Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. It says, "Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." What really stands out to me here is that God's will for our lives is good, pleasing, and perfect. And sometimes we get caught up in not knowing what it all will entail for us to do the thing God is calling us to do. We think of what can go wrong, maybe some of the negative things that we can come into contact with on that journey, but reminding ourselves that God's will for our lives is good, pleasing, and perfect. So our third and final step on this journey to walking in God's purpose for our life is to deal radically with the sin in our lives.
I am a storyteller of action sports culture. The outdoors are a special place for all.
And now something that the pastor noted when he talked about this point was how we think that dabbling with sin, we're playing patty cake, right? It's just child games, nothing bad can come out of this. But really what we're doing is playing Russian roulette. The implications and the long-term effects of dabbling in sin, slipping slowly into temptation, can have us drifting away from the Lord in such a major way. Luckily, we serve a God who will always welcome us back with open arms, but it is our responsibility to recognize the sin in our lives and to not think that it's not a big deal. Going back to point number 2, God wants our hearts. And if anything else has our hearts above the Lord, our life is going to demonstrate that. So we have to be ready to deal radically with the sin in our lives, whatever it is. Greed, lust, selfishness, jealousy, literally insert whatever sin here. We have to be willing to, 1, acknowledge that it is there, and then repent, turn towards God, and invite him into what we are trying to pluck out of our lives and our heart. Now, the Bible verse I have for you, I'm going to go ahead and pop it up on the screen. It is coming from 1 John chapter 5, verse 21, and it says, "Dear children, keep away from anything that might take God's place in your hearts." And I feel like this Bible verse really just highlights the point of it all. God wants our hearts. So anything that is taking his place in our hearts has to be plucked out, and we have to deal with it radically. All right, guys, so that is going to be it for me. I know this is another short and sweet one, but I hope you enjoyed. If you would like to continue on this conversation on the topic of purpose, please let me know in the comments below, and also give this video a thumbs up. And now I also wanted to give you guys access to this workbook that I put together for you, because I noticed in the last video there were a lot of comments from people saying that they didn't know what their gifts, their talents, or their calling was. So I put together a very custom workbook just for you. It's going to guide you through taking a spiritual gifts assessment, which is completely free. And then I have some prayer prompts as well as journal prompts for you to take to the Lord in your quiet time to really just assist you on this journey towards taking that next step in the direction of your calling and your purpose. So the link will be in the description box for you to get access to that free workbook. And in the meantime, it is now your turn per usual. So my question for you guys today is, as a child, where did you find the greatest joy? Oftentimes, our calling can be uncovered through going back to our childhood and seeing what are the things that we naturally gravitated towards. So I definitely encourage you guys, leave a comment down below, share with us where you found the greatest joy as a child, and who knows, that may be corresponding to where God has placed you currently and what your calling is at this time and in this season. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Peace.
All right, so again, that was Melody, and so with her video, it's more so starting from within, right? So in order to find your purpose, in order to walk in that, you have to go deeper within yourself. And so similar to how when you buy a gadget, when you buy something that you have to assemble, majority of the time you look at the manual first to make sure that you're setting it up right, you're creating it right, all these different things, right? And so because you go and follow the instructions that were given based on the Creator, why do we do that with everything else but ourselves? So in order for us to find our purpose, we have to go deeper within ourselves, find out why our Creator created us a certain way and what purpose it is that we have. And how with Melody, she broke down how your purpose is not your calling, and that your calling has to be more specific to your gifts, but your purpose is more so how to walk in that it coincides with your calling, right? So she said 3 things or 3 ways to walk in your purpose is to stop limping, stop being on the fence, being one way here, one way there, not hesitating, just going forward. The second thing was to point your heart back to God. So having that oneness with your Creator, having that oneness with God, learning who you are in Him, and really going all in, not hesitating, going all in, which kind of falls back into point 1. And then also deal radically with the sins or the vices or the things that you know you're not supposed to be doing in your life so that you can get right. Like a lot of times people have things that sugarcoat other things. They're band-aids. They're not getting to the root of anything. And the more that we indulge in these things that only sugarcoat what's really going on, we're really hurting ourselves. It's kind of like somebody scraping all their skin off, getting down to the bone, and all they do is put a band-aid on it. It's going to get infected. It's going to be a lot of things that's going on. But unless and until you get to that root, until you get to the actual problem and start fixing the problem, you won't heal. You won't be able to see a difference. And so when it comes to finding your purpose and walking in that purpose, getting to the root of who you are, learning who you are, and putting your all into it, not hesitating. It's going to be scary regardless of what you do, but do it scared anyway, all right? And so we're going to move on to a powerhouse. This woman is one of my mentors, and we are not going to get into all this today. There will be a part 4 next month, y'all, so stay tuned. We got some goodies, all right, on how to walk in your purpose. And so, you know, Melody gave a couple steps on ways you can walk in this, but Lisa Nichols, she's going to bring it all home on how to step into your life purpose. Because some people have different purposes, and some people might have things that's for seasons and for reasons, but that one purpose that you have, that you are meant to do, that you're meant to fulfill within your lifetime, that's what we're talking about today, your life purpose. So check this out, and we're going to talk about it afterwards.
I'm really excited about the conversation we get to have today. I'm excited about the conversation I'm having in the world right about now. I'm excited about the things that I'm asked to do. I'm on this whole journey of abundant life. What does it take to create an abundant life? First off, and Christy really talked about what are the things that block you from abundance. So she talked about all the things in your past. Now, may I talk about some things to do and create for you? Because I'm a coach. So I'm an action step. I'm an action step person because the antidote to despair is action. The prescription for radical success is action. The difference between you and the person living their dreams that you're watching is simply the amount of action. It's not the hookup. It's not the family they were born into. It's not the gender. It's not the culture. Those are all great stories that we give it. But it really is the things they did and how much they were willing to do it. So I want to talk about that because when you look at my life is someone who did not ask for permission. My life is someone who gave notice. So I just came to find those few of you who are willing to give notice and stop asking for permission. Are you here? Yes? Yes? So I know my tribe, they're all like, yes, yes, tell them about the yes, yes, Lisa. Okay. We forget that there are people who are just meeting me. How many of you guys are just meeting me for the first time? Yeah. Oh, yummy. Put on your seatbelts. Right. So, just so those of you who are just meeting me, last year, there was 2 of me. This year, there's less of me to love. So you're like, that's not the lady that was on YouTube, right? Yes, I am. It's the sexier version. So when we talk about feeling it in your soul, I want to start with your yes. And I don't do the yes because it's a cliche thing. I don't do it because I need you to do something rah-rah. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm a transformational coach. Let's be very clear. When I show up for your breakthrough. I show up with the willingness to disrupt everything you know so that you're willing to go find something new. I'm willing, no matter how big you're playing in the world, there's something where you can serve bigger, love bigger, receive bigger, wherever that is for you. And I come, and when I'm in your space, promise you the divine, God, Mother, Father, whatever you choose to call it, have placed me in your space for some kind of new level of something. That's just my assignment. I know what my breath is for. And so that's what I'm here for. So when we talk about yes, yes, it's not just a rah-rah. It literally is to move something in you to say yes, bigger, bolder, and with knees knocking sometime and teeth chattering sometime, still say yes and then figure out the how. So when I'm with my girls and I say something they like, they say, you go, girl, but we're not with all girls. When I'm at church and I say something that they love, they say, amen. And sometimes some of y'all just go ahead and do that, but we're not in church. When I say something that resonates with you, I want you to say yes. And then I want the second yes to be louder than the first yes. I want that second yes to make you have to sit up a little bit. I want that second yes to cost you something for yourself. I want it to be just a bit disruptive. Let's try it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Only at Awesomeness Fest do they ever hit it on the first time. Man, you should see when I'm over at Wells Fargo, I'm over at Rockwell, I'm at 18, I'm like, yes, yes. I'm like, oh, no, no. That won't do it. That won't do it. Right? They say yes, yes. I say no, no, then we're going to get it right. I'm like, why don't y'all loosen the tie a little bit so you can feel your throat? So when I say something that you like that resonates with your soul, I want you to say, yes. When you hear your truth, I want you to say, yes. When it feels good to you, I want you to say, yes. And even when it stings, but it's still your truth, I want you to say, even if your neighbor's not saying it, I want you to say. Yes, when you leave here and you're at lunch and something feels good to your soul, I want you to say. Yes, when you leave Costa Rica or you leave the conference and something feels good to your soul, I want you to say. Yes, without anyone at home agreeing with you, I still want you to say. Yes, when your friend asks you out to lunch, I want you to say. Yes, now, they will think you're weird. Because when you left home, you only said 1 yes. And you came home, now you're saying 2 yeses. So I want them to immediately know something changed. Yes, yes? Without asking my permission, without waiting for me to pause, without waiting for a politically correct interruption, I still want you to say, yes, without anyone else in the room having to say it with you. Be the Lone Ranger. Be that. Right. Now, the first yes is to you. The reason why the second yes has to be louder is because the second yes is not to you. The second yes is to the God's assignment on your life. Which is why it has to be louder, because it's going to cost you more. It's going to test your level of conviction. That second yes has to be the yes that moves you when you don't want to move, that will have you say the things you don't want to say and do the things you don't want to do, so you can be the man, the woman you've always known yourself to be. So the second yes got to kind of shake the lights. It got to kind of shake the lights. You know what I mean? That second yes has to make anyone in earshot say, they're going to do that. Because, you know, the way you convert people who don't believe in you is you just have enough confidence in you. I had a gentleman, I was in an investor meeting, and I'm telling my dream, and this was like 15 years ago, and I'm like, I'm going to transform lives. I'm going to start with teens. And he's just sitting there, and I said, I need to raise capital. I need $50,000 so I can work. Amen. And he said, and I was telling him the supplies I was going to buy, and he said, listen. He said, my wife and I don't have children. And we decided not to have children. We don't even know if we like children. Right. You're doing good. That was your first test. You passed. He said, but when I look at you and I listen to you, you're so convicted. You're so on fire. He said, I don't know how you're going to do all that, but I believe you're going to do it because of your passion. He said, so I'm going to invest $25,000 in your company. He said, but I don't even know if I should call it investment because you're so on fire, I don't even need to see it back. I was like, can I get that right? Yes. Right, yes. Right? So it's about you being so on fire for you. So I want to continue the conversation of what abundant and creating an abundant life looks like. Because to Vishen's point, and thank him so much for acknowledging, my company, 15 years ago, 17 years ago, I sat on my couch looking for a way to move past being both broke and broken. And it was easier to be broke. Come on, you guys. I want to hear your yes. I heard some of that yes kind of. You can't whisper it. Be okay with your truth. We're going to make the truth very, very sexy and acceptable for the next hour that I'm on stage. We're going to make the truth something that we all want to wear. And when I wear my truth and you wear your truth, we get to choose if we love each other inside that truth. But my job is to wear my truth. Your job is to choose. Yes? So here I was sitting on the couch in Inglewood, California. And I was broke. You can tell, only from the hood when they go, Inglewood, in the house, always up to no good, right? Amen. It'll never be out of me no matter where I go. I'm sitting on my couch and I'm broke, but more than anything, I'm broken. And I'm at a place, and some of you have been there, or you're there, I'm not sure. But I was at a place where I said, wait, I'm too brilliant for this. I ain't quite seen, that's how I said it, yes, all my brilliance yet, but I know I'm too brilliant for this. This reality doesn't fit my DNA. So the first thing to know is when you're out of congruency with who you're designed to be. That's the first thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't hide it. Don't shy from it. Just step into that truth. That truth is sexy because it'll make you do something you never thought you would do. It'll make you get radical. And I sat there with my son, not having food, eating beanies and weenies 6 days a week. Right? And like the beanies were cut so small, the weenies were cut so small. He was like, Mommy, I can't see the meat. I said, baby, it's there. Let me just put some extra sugar in it. I was so broke and broken. His father had just gone to prison. And all of a sudden, my worst nightmare had come true. I made a commitment being born and raised in South Central LA, raised between the Harlem Crip 30s and the Rolling 60s. Those are not cheerleading squads, y'all. That I wouldn't engage on any level. I wasn't available on any level for any gang activity, for anything criminal, because I would never be connected with jail. It's just not my thing. I knew early on that's not my destiny. So when my girlfriends and my best friends started dating the neighborhood thugs, I passed. I'm going to the library. I'm not participating. I don't know where I'll end up, but I know I won't stay here. And so I planned all this. I got out. I was an athlete. I was an all-American athlete. I held the record for the 330 low hurdles for 18 years after I graduated. My head was down. I was MVP all 3 years in high school. I was focused. I got out. And then all of a sudden, the man that I meet at 27, beautiful soul, brilliant soul, just still had that hustle in him. And I'm not mad about a little hustle, but it can't manage your integrity. And for him, it just got the best of him. And I got the call. I said, hello? He said, Lisa. I said, yes. He said, I'm in jail. And my heart dropped. I'm 28. I had just given birth to his child. And now I'm linked to the very thing I tried to avoid for so long. I'm sharing with you my story so you can validate and level set your story. Because I look up and I say, wow, I'm working on my 7th bestseller. I've had great conversations with Oprah and Larry King and the Today Show, and I've built a multi-million-dollar business, and my company's gone public, and it doesn't change my story. And yet I realize that I use my story as my fuel, not my fortress. Like my story wasn't my, I get to be successful in spite of. My story was my because of. It's because of. And so I remember sitting on my couch going, oh my God, my very thing I tried to avoid, my nightmare is my truth. And for years, 8 years, I never mentioned where my son's father was. I denied that he even existed. I wouldn't talk about him. You couldn't talk about him. Margaret, when I said his name, she thought my son's father was an exchange student from Africa. When I first said his name, she's like, is that somebody we're going to donate to or what? And I said, no, that's my son's father. I just don't talk about him because I haven't accepted it yet. And so I walked around with this baggage on me, this story that if I spoke too loudly and let my light shine too brightly, then the light's going to shine on him too, and everybody's going to know my connection. Come on, you guys. I just want you to, yours is going to be different. But we got this chatter, and picking up where Chrissy left off, this was just my chatter. I would be remiss if I didn't share my chatter with you before I share with you how to get to an abundant life. You got to know the depth that I come from. And so, for years, I dodged that conversation of my son's father because I was embarrassed of my choices, when in fact I chose an amazing, beautiful, brilliant man who simply made a poor decision. And as I told my son, he's on a long-term timeout. 21 years later, he's still there. That's his journey. That's his journey. He's also an author of 7 books published before me. So he chose to make the best of his story as well. He's a better writer, stronger writer than I am. He's just amazing. He's still brilliant. And so I look at that journey and I go, how did I get from there, broken and broke, to this story that's breathtaking? I traveled 315 days out the year. I prayed to God 17 years ago, Lord, I want to travel the world, run my mouth, and autograph anything. I am not going to tell you where I have put a marker. So, no, we're on the backs. And so I wanted to just stop by. And I say stop by because I'm in 4 different countries and 12 different cities in 33 days. So I'm just stopping by. But I stop and I stay here as long as I can because I love this space. But I stop by to stir your soul. To do nothing other than stir your soul. And for some of you, you're going to choose to continue to play with me. We're going to find ways to learn together. We're going to find ways to serve together. We're going to find ways to help you grow together, to help you create an abundant life together. And we'll keep going. For others, this is a moment in time. And this was the very message you were supposed to hear. And your job is to pull out of it what you're supposed to pull out of it and then take action. So I stopped by. I stopped by to push some things in your space so you can choose to adopt it. I stopped by to give you several points. And you may want to write these down. I stopped by to also get you to do some things before I leave the stage. I'm going to play with you a lot and move around a lot. I'm going to teach you just a few points from the book that comes out in January. It's called Abundance Now. And in Abundance Now, I redefine abundance because we know abundance to be about wealth, right? And it's time for us to disrupt the definition of abundance, right? Are you guys down with me? Are you down with me? We need to disrupt so that our children, by the time they're able to really think about abundance, they only know it to be a holistic experience. That abundance includes relationships. Abundance includes your spirituality. Abundance includes your health. Abundance is not just about the bottom line at the bank account. Can y'all help me with that? Can we agree? If there's anybody on the planet that can change the definition of abundance, it would be us. Yes, yes? And so I want you to be a part of it, but you're going to see me going mad crazy everywhere, going, wait, before I talk about abundance, let's redefine it for what it really is. Because I have a lot of very wealthy friends, millionaires and billionaires, who hang very close to me. And they're not hanging close to me to learn how to make money. They can teach me that. They're hanging close to me because they love how I have fun. They love how my son still hangs out with me. If any of you saw me last night back in the corner on the phone, y'all thought I was booed up talking to my honey. I was talking to my 21-year-old son who said, hey, Mom, I just want to hang out with you for a bit. Can you just hang out with me? I was like, absolutely. That food can get cold, right? Abundance is about having that holistic realm of success. Yes, yes? So I'm going to teach you today from some really great points here that I'm super excited and on fire about. And then for some of you, just a handful, I'm going to invite into a whole 8-week live course. The first time I've taught an 8-week live course in 5 years, just around abundance and understanding an abundant life and designing an abundant life real time, not just listening to a video, but real time with me live. And so I want to start with that. So point number one I want to make, and you want to write these down. Point number one. And some of this you already know, but repetition is the mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, and cousin of learning. Yes, yes? Is you're super achievers. I'm a super achiever. And the one thing we have to constantly remind ourselves is to create micro wins to get to our macro wins. That we go after the macro win, but we only look at the macro win. I want you to look at the micro wins and get 5 micro wins under your belt so you can create your macro win. That way you celebrate yourself a lot more often. Yes, yes? That way you can have an indicator that you're on the right track more often. That way your fuel is being acknowledged more often. That way you know you're on the right track. Let's get to micro wins. Micro wins can lead to a macro win. Can we agree that that's an abundant? And I'm showing you how abundant thinkers think. So if you want to me, you model successful people. When I was on the Oprah Winfrey Show, on one of the commercial breaks, she said, so Lisa, how many coaches do you have? She didn't ask me if I had a coach. She said, how many coaches do you have? I said, 2. On the next commercial break, what do you think I did? I asked her, how many coaches do you have? She said, 4. When I left the show, what do you think I did? Right? I hired 2 more coaches. So success leaves clues. I'm going to give you some of the clues. And people who are living an abundant life now, you guys just allow this to be a salve of confirmation. And then for everyone else who's moving in that direction and more so in that direction, these are the things that abundant thinking people do all day, every day. 1, we create micro wins so we can get to macro wins. And we celebrate the micro wins. Far more celebrations in life. Number 2.
All right, we're going to stop right there. All right, so for those that don't know who that was Lisa Nichols. And she focuses on how to step into your life purpose, right? And so in order to know what your purpose is, you have to know your story, and you have to be willing to share your story. So a part of the video was her sharing her story. And so sometimes we might be a little afraid to tell people where we came from or what we've been through, but your story is also a part of your purpose. And so if you are unwilling to share those those pieces of you that have been shaping you to where you are today, then you may not be ready for where you think you're ready for right now, right? And so what she talked about was how the antidote to despair is action. In order to get out of what it is that you're in now, trying to change for the better, whatever it might be, you have to take action. Be the Lone Ranger. Be the one who's able to step outside of the box, do things differently. You know, the ones who stand out the most are the ones who stand out, not the ones who try to fit in and be the best at what everybody else is doing. They're doing things differently. They're coming differently. So when it comes to stepping into your purpose, come different. Okay, different is great. And I don't know who told you otherwise, but be willing to come different, okay? No matter what she talked about, how know when you are out of congruence with who you are. So you have to build that relationship with yourself in order to know if something is off. You have to spend more time with yourself in order to know, listen, this is not me. This is not right. I don't know what's going on. I'm a little off. You have to know that about yourself first for you to know, when you are stepping into your purpose. You got to know when you are off, when you're out of sorts with yourself, when you're not who you are or who you truly supposed to be, right? And of course, it's always a learning journey. It's always something you're going to have to learn about yourself. But when you are on the journey of wanting to be better and wanting to learn how to do that, you have to learn you, and you have to love you. You have to be willing to dig deeper, like we were talking about earlier, in order to get to that point. All right. And she said, no matter how much you get, it won't change your story, because the story is a part of your purpose, right? And it might not make sense now, or might not have made sense when you went through it. But once everything falls in line, it'll make sense later. All right. So some things are not meant for you to understand at the time, but in time, if it's meant to be understood, you will. She said that your story is your fortress, okay? And that the holistic realm of success is something that we should be focusing on, not just one level, not just when it comes to money, not just when it comes to health, not when it comes to spirituality, all of it, right? We are not fully successful if we're only successful in one area of our life. Walking in your purpose is having that holistic success, having that holistic abundance. She also talked about how when we only got to one point, so that means we got to come back next time to hear the rest of what she has to say about stepping into our purpose. She said that repetition is the mother of learning. Well, she said all the relatives, but repetition is the mother of learning, and that we constantly have to remind ourselves that to create micro wins to help us to create macro wins, to celebrate ourselves more often, and to fuel being acknowledged more often, because success leaves clues, right? Success leaves clues. And so if you are trying to walk in your purpose, and if you're trying to step out there, get to know yourself better. Don't stay on the fence. Don't hesitate. Go for it. And follow your heart, right? Point your heart back to God, back to your creator, back to the one who created you, because your purpose is behind the manual that was created for your life. And so if you don't know who created you, or why things happen the way they happen, or you don't know what that purpose might be, connect with the creator, the one who created you. Just like you go to manuals with devices, you can go to the creator to figure out what your purpose actually is, and to really deal with those vices that you have, those sins that you have that take away or put a band-aid on things that you need to get to the root to, that you need to get to the root of, right? Deal with those things so that you can really learn who you are, because you can't keep a mask on forever. You have to deal with yourself at some point in time. And in order to really walk and step in your purpose, this is what you have to do. All right. So I just want to thank everyone for taking the time out today to really listen in and get something. I hope you got something from this month's Q&A, stepping into your purpose. And I hope as we close out this series that by the year's end, you will have known what your purpose is, which is something that you're very passionate about, that you love to do, that comes easy to you, that you would do without pay or with pay, and something that people compliment you the most on, that you do with ease, that, you know, is very natural. More than likely, this is your purpose, all right? So if you're not walking in that, if you still are trying to figure out what that is, keep learning about you. Keep going deeper within. You can't find your purpose going without. You got to go within yourself. All right. So once again, Showcase Your Talent Show will be this coming Sunday. The theme is Artful Thanks. It will be from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom, as well as live streaming on YouTube. We're moving up in the world, y'all. All right. And so if you are interested, definitely connect with us so that we can get you on the list. Click the link in our bio. Go to Intelexx.com. If you want to participate, there are still some spots left. We have books. We have merch. We have promo options. We have art and business seminar that we've had. We've had future ones coming up. If you want to connect with us so that you can be a part of that, you know, artists, sponsors, speakers, definitely connect with us with that. We have Meeting of the Minds Mondays, one Monday a month, where we pose topics based on self, business, art, and everywhere in between. If you want to be a part of our Meeting of the Minds or want to host, connect with us. Our Q&A Wednesdays is one Wednesday a month, where you also have a chance to access anything during this time, but we also pose a question of the month for us to get to know you a little bit better. If you have any questions that you would like to hear here, or if you would like to pose the question of the month, definitely connect with us as well. We have our Freestyle Friday segments. Open mic is every Friday that we have an event. Second Fridays is Battle Art, where you go up against other artists, the viewers vote, and the ones with the most votes win and picks the next month's theme. All right. We also have our Art of War, Art Awareness fundraiser, third Fridays, or our Double Art, where we combine Battle Art and our fundraiser together. You know, doing things for a good cause, where we're raising awareness for the beauty, necessity, and uniqueness of art, as well as raising funds to come to a place near you. You don't have to wait till third Fridays to donate. You can donate at any time. You can use our Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. You can go to Intelexx.com. You can click on that link in our bio. There are many different ways to connect with us. So if you are interested, definitely choose any of those options. And we are thankful for everybody who has donated to this platform. We appreciate each and every single one of you. And we also have our Featured Fridays, which is fourth Fridays, where we spotlight an entrepreneur doing their thing in the community, giving them their flowers, but I can still smell them while they are still here with us. And so we will be back with those very soon. Stay tuned. We have so much going on. We have our app, the Artrepreneur's Hub. Make sure to download that to stay up to date on all things Intelexx, as well as subscribe to our email list and our YouTube channel. There are also member fees as well. But we got so much going on. We want to include you in everything. And if you want to be in the know, on the know, and see different things that we have outside of what we post on social media, definitely download our app, okay? But thank you once again for your continued support. We would not be here without you. And we appreciate all that you do for us, right? And so I want you all to remember that you are uniquely designed and one of a kind. So don't let anybody stop your shine. Nobody can be you but you. So make sure that you are beautifully, uniquely, and artistically you. And that you do you, live you, love you, and crush it too. All right, so until next time, have a great night and an amazing rest of your week. Until next time.